Hey guys, welcome back to Flipper Flicks. We have special guests again, and you're going to hear this a second time in like a minute or so. But we have another Fireside chat today, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Super exciting. I'm Tim.
Oh, and I'm Adam.
I got him that time. I didn't really get him. I don't know. He got himself. Anyway,
I got myself.
he got himself. We have social media, of course, like many other people out there. Our tag is FlipperFlix. We're mostly on Instagram and Twitter, so find us there. Catch out what we're doing. We'll do all sorts of bonus episodes from our regular stuff to, what have you. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple, and obviously a lot of other platforms because there's a lot out there. We post episodes every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless, again, we're doing bonus stuff such as Fireside Chats, which, if you follow us, we can give you little hints and stuff but when those are dropping. I think that's all I got for you.
Cool. So I'm Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hello. Today, like Tim and Adam alluded to, we have a fireside chat. We're going to have John Alexander, who is the director of this film, and Bob Love, who is one of the producers, as well as a member of the Love family, on today. The film is a funkumentary, so I'll give you the synopsis that was in the Rain Dance Film Festival. So it goes, you may not know Rudy Love's name, even if you've heard his voice all your life. Love's story encapsulates a quintessential struggle of black artists of the 20th and 21st centuries. In the face of systemic racism, and with the purest of intentions, Love repeatedly turned down fame to make music with his family. Just when it seems all his music is lost, it shows up on the other side of the world. It co-stars Sinbad, Mick Fleetwood, George Clinton, and a whole host of other folks. And so it really tells the story of the unsung hero of soul. So they'll give you a little more details on Rudy Love and his life, as well as the Love family as a whole. And they'll also be teasing when this film's going to be available on streaming. So make sure you go and follow their Instagram account, This Is Love Film, to keep updated if you like what you hear.
Hey guys, welcome back to Flipper Flicks. We have a couple of special guests here today, one returning, one new. So we'll go ahead and let them get started and to introduce themselves. And I'm going to fumble my words already. Like 5 seconds in. All right, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, all good. I am John Alexander, director, filmmaker, editor of This Is Love, a feature documentary about Rudy Love and the Love family. And I am here with Bob Love.
Yes, I am Bob Love, one of the producers on the film, as well as a member of the Love Family Band, and probably a huge fan of John Alexander. I am a huge fan of all of his work. Yeah,
I'm 2 for 2 with what I've seen of it. I got to see some more, John.
That's very nice. And Bob, I'll Venmo you or give you cash for making that
statement. Cool.
That's actually, I feel like that's actually like a classic Rudy Love Q&A joke, right, Bob? And
yeah.
When Rudy always, whenever somebody would compliment him, he would always like pretend like he was slipping a 20 and someone's next to him on stage or whatever.
That's a good.
Such a good. I always think of Rudy in Q&As actually, but especially now.
Yeah. Which, sorry to hear about your loss with him.
Thank you. Yes, thank you much.
The whole world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're just kind of coming into the light again. I feel like in terms of the films representing, a fraction of Rudy Love's, the legend of Rudy Love, but
yeah.
After he died in October 6th, and we're just right now kind of starting to emerge and talk to you guys, and This Is Love Film is up and running and sharing. We're going to be announcing a lot of upcoming streaming news and
exciting.
And we're going to start up the live screenings. People are wanting to kind of get out there and now that the warmer months are coming, so we'll try to get those things happening. and just kind of
Yes.
keep it moving, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a transition period. We're transitioning and changing a few things. We got, like John said, we have those things going on. We also have a River Festival concert here in Wichita, Kansas, coming up on the 11th of June, where the bill is really heavy. War, Willie Nelson, also the Family Stone, along with us, and the Monophonics, which is Michael Finnegan's son's band, a big lineup. So we're going to be doing that festival soon.
That's
And
exciting.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we're just going to continue to show the film and possibly take the band out and play live concerts.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions later. Was like, do you guys still perform?
Yes, we do.
Oh yeah. What's amazing to me, I mean, not me, I don't perform, but what's amazing to me about the Love Family, Bob, like, if I may, like, is like,
Mhm.
it is a large family. I mean, the Love Family, there's always more Love Family when when you even when you think you know the whole Love Family, there's more Love Family.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just kind of amazing, like how people are representing all over the place too. Love Family music is being made. I mean, Rudy Love Jr. and then Bob kind of heading up the Love Family band in the home fort in Wichita.
Nice.
But people are all over, right, Bob? And I mean, in Chicago,
we've got well, actually, I'm the second oldest of 17 children, and so
it's only a few. That's only a few.
That's only a few, and everybody have a baby or so, or a few. And then you have we have the extensions in Atlanta. We have a very talented artists in Chicago, Rudy's children in San Francisco and Chicago, and as well as mine in San Antonio. And we have acts all over. And that's going to be a part of the Rudy Love Festival that's coming up July the 22nd here in Wichita. It'll be the second one, which we'll be highlighting all of the family acts as well as a few local acts here.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Sam and I have availability in July, but we might. And
Sure.
Nice.
and I've the only part of Kansas I've ever been in is I was in Kansas City and I crossed the border. So I mean,
Oh,
I gotta see more to Kansas, you know?
Yeah. Hope it's possible. Let us know. We'll treat you good down here.
Sounds good. But
what I wish I could make is the June 11th with literally Sly and the Family Stone, which is what Rudy used to sing with, and work closely with Sly, like, are actually coming. I mean, is this true, Bob? Like, they're coming together with Rudy Love Jr. and the Love Family Band and everyone, Bob, and like they're gonna do, like some sort of tribute. I don't know if they're gonna do music or but kind of honoring the Love Sly connection.
Yeah, that's true. Those are things that are happening.
So
love it.
So with all of this coming in, like the future, but how did this all come to be? Like, how did you guys all meet? Like, I'm just curious about that.
Right. Yeah. So
tell them, John.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, the Love Family had always, in my mind, dreamed of coming together to make some sort of movie or film or documentary about their life's work, which is incredible I mean, it's unbelievable how many generations we could go back and dig that up, but it's a truly influential and prolific family in the Midwest, in the States, musically and culturally. And they'd always wanted to do something. They connected eventually. Bob, really at the helm, who was, Rudy Love was the front man and the star of kind of this large family. He was the oldest of 17, but Bob was kind of the behind the scenes guy who really was Rudy's more than right hand man, but kind of the brains of the operation.
Always need a guy like
that. with Rudy being a true artist, and a true gifted artist that Bob kind of always was behind and worked with. And Bob always also worked on his own, don't get me wrong, with some amazing stuff. But they eventually, the family eventually, Bob connected with Sean Rhodes, who is a also kind of a notorious figure in Kansas entertainment. I mean, he's a film producer based there who worked a lot in television. He's done like 400 episodes on network TV of, you know, various his shows. But he connected with Rudy and Bob and started kind of shooting, like amassing a ton of material on old school video. I mean, whatever, you know, mini DV and all sorts of formats over the years. And then eventually, you know, 10, 15 years later, this is all before I came into the picture. Then eventually I connected with, with, you know, this was many, many years ago. I connected with Sean on another project that I was filming on location in Kansas, a Western thriller horror called Bender.
Yeah, you were telling me about that one before.
Yeah. And anyway, very different. But Rudy Love and the Love Family played at our wrap party for that film when we filmed on location. And Sean was the one who coordinated that, because he really was planting them in front of me, in front of us, to do a collaboration. And it ended up being like the ultimate collaboration of my life. I mean, the way I worked with Rudy and Bob and the Love Family was like truly the honor of a lifetime. But Sean seeded that. That was like in 2013. Film went into production in 2016, where we started filming with like Sinbad was our first interview that we filmed with. And then we went from there with George Clinton, Mick Fleetwood, and kind of did a new wave of filming to bring all the material together. And then the film premiered in 2018. And then we've all just been kind of, working since then. And then since the premiere, it's like been on the circuit nonstop. I mean, breaking records. It won't, all coming up on 4-year anniversary of the world premiere, and it won't stop.
Dang,
That's
awesome.
Yeah, very cool. So what was the most difficult part of the film then, and like what the easiest as well, I guess?
I mean, I think the most difficult part was how wrapping for all of us in our various departments, wrapping our head around just how vast and the material was. I mean, Rudy Love, there's so much. It's like, it's like literally overwhelming how much there is, like in terms of the volume of music that he's written and you know, we couldn't cover nearly the tip of the iceberg. And also things that he sings on is like pilot vocals, singing, you know, background on famous records, but whether he was credited or compensated or not, but you can hear him. And just all there's the amount of material that's there, and the amount of material that Bob has, the music, the catalog of music is like a library in of itself that's just unbelievable. And by the way, I'm not the only person that knows this. I mean, people like Jay-Z and people know this and have sampled. But
Jay-Z was brought up in the film.
Yeah. But like, it's ridiculous, the material that's there. So like the challenge with making the movie was like, I've never been more confronted with more varied material, like so many still photographs, vinyl things, like old, like I mentioned, all the stuff Sean had filmed over the years, the new stuff. It was like just a ridiculous. So but the reward in that was like this rich tapestry. It was I was like, we're going to embrace really Rudy and Rudy's musical genius and kind of follow the whimsical rhythm of his music and his voice and his character and the family, and just like that kind of wild vibrancy, and like make a mosaic of all this wacky material, like almost like a Gaudi architecture or something, like some like super whimsical kind of rendition out of like little broken tiles of material was sort of how we saw it, like creatively. so yeah, that was kind of the risk and the reward in terms of your question of like what was difficult was kind of what we leaned into.
That
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. It seemed like he just from the film itself that he constantly was creating music or doing something like that. At least that's the vibe I got from the music. He was just constantly, I don't know, being creative. But
well, one thing about Rudy was creativity. He was not short on.
Yeah, for sure.
And we always were recording. We recorded a lot and with different people, and so we have a vast amount of collaborations, different producers, different styles. We often talk sometimes when like Rudy Jr.'s got to go to LA. He can put in Rudy Love and drive 24 hours straight to LA.
That's impressive.
And listen, and nothing but Rudy Love music,
Yeah.
That's very
all
cool.
the way. Yeah. And so here at my home, I have a lot of music that and live performances and videotape. The biggest thing, like you said a while ago, was the hardest thing was trying to figure out what to put in, what not, what had to leave, because it's only 88 minutes long. So you can't. I mean, it could be a saga. Actually, we could be showing stuff for days.
Could have been a whole docu-series.
Yeah. And that's actually what I've been working on since then is working on a docu series, actually, as well as a stage musical play. Has been written, and we've been working on it for a while to have the actual story of the Love family and with the music of the Love family inserted into it. So it's just like a big musical.
That'd be something to see. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's an undertaking, that's for sure.
I'm
It's
sure.
only a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Just a little. Yeah.
Get some family to help you though, right?
Well, yeah. Actually, my cousin is a playwright, so she's signed on to help me with
awesome.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you were talking about how much music that Rudy has and like the whole family. So Sam and I actually started collecting, not collecting, we have a turntable now. And we're talking about, we were like, oh, we got to try and find some Rudy Love like records. Are there any that we like need to like seek for? Like just
Yeah.
Like which is the number one? Which is your go-to?
All of them. Yeah.
As all of them.
Anyone that you could find, because the thing is, so many Bob, like so many have gotten, and you see like not on eBay, but on places, the record collectors, there are records like 45s, for example, like in England that will sell for like £400 or something for a single. Which is like $600 or something, because anyone who has them keeps them, they don't want to, so because they're worth that much, but there are, you can find, I've always pick up Rudy Love records when I travel and like can see things like which has only happened a handful of times, but I have like This Song Is For You album is just incredible work, masterwork. And the Purple album is what the Love family called it, is another one, but it's Rudy Love and the Love family, and it's a big Purple album, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Those would be the ones to get, for sure.
Nice. And I know you delved into this a little bit now and also in the film, but can you tell us a little bit more about the collector in London and how you guys kind of came across that? Like, how did he reach out, or how did that sort of come to fruition?
Actually, John Smith was like I say, a collector. And one day I got an email, I think it was an email that said, is this actually Rudy Love? And I was like, wow, who is this? Because I said, yeah, this is actually Rudy Love. And then he went on to say, did you record such and such songs, like Suffer and Wrath? I said, wow, who is this? And then he said, I'm a music collector. And over here, and I knew the music had been, sent around the world, without the knowledge of the family. It was way before the internet. And and so to hear somebody talking like this and knew different things about, I knew he had to be for real because he knew things about the music that some of the things that I totally forgot about, as well as Rudy, and he had all the receipts and everything. He knew everything. So yeah, John Smith was and we told him yes. And then I think what happened was he was going to be in the States, and so he came to New York, and Rudy flew to New York to meet him, and they met in New York. And
awesome.
he turned over some of the music and showed Rudy, they had the music and stuff. And then John, you can tell him how he got into the film.
Yeah, well, I heard that story that Bob just said, and I was like, "That's incredible." First of all, but just like as an anecdote, I mean, it literally he just gets a random, "Are you Rudy Love?" Like, because all of your music is playing over here, and you don't even know, like, at all, like, and it's being played tons. But yeah, I heard that, and then when we were making the film, I just thought that was a really important story to kind of anecdote to include. So we contacted John Smith the same way that he just contacted. I made the same call he made. Are you John Smith? But and then when we went into production, JC and I were over, producer on the film. My wife, amazing person, human being.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah. She and I were going to Europe once summer anyway, basically, and we kind of kicked the film into production. We contacted John Smith and said, we're in, like, gathering material and looking into kind of this Rudy Love legend. What's the Rudy Love story? Those who know sort of situation. And he was like, absolutely, like, oh, by all means, wow, how incredible, like, definitely a talent to honor. Please come meet me. I would love to tell you, blah, blah, blah. So we met him in Oxford, UK.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah, well, and I think this was also in 2016 or maybe end of 2015, right when we kind of started. And he showed us everything. We filmed a little interview with him, and then that we ended up using in the film. And he put us in touch with other people, other record shops who we also then went to, and we filmed at and found more Rudy Love music. And it's just incredible, the things that we found kind of third hand. I mean, it happened to Rudy. We revisited Sean, filmed things on it. Then we went in, and it's just like, it's all true. I've realized that all these Rudy Love stories that sound like, they are too good to be true.
The whole small world stuff that keeps happening to him.
Yeah, it just keeps happening. So, but it is all real. And yeah, it's kind of incredible.
Were there any like other musicians, like, so you guys have a lot, you have like Mick Fleetwood, you have like Sinbad, like you said earlier. Were there any musicians, I can't talk today, that you guys like reached out to but they couldn't make it into the film?
Well, Freddie Stone of Sly and the Family Stone, he had talked, we had mentioned to him, as well as Brian Alexander Morgan, who is a huge producer. He produced SWV, a lot of Michael Jackson stuff, and so he's huge. And he's also from Wichita, but nice. he lives in LA. And so to have him on and Rudy and John were able to go out and visit him at his home, and to have him on also, yeah. It was quite a few people that wanted to be in it, but contractual things.
Right. Yeah. There were definitely people it was almost, I love the question because it was so fun to make those calls and say, we're doing a project about Rudy Love with Rudy. And everyone was just like, oh, and the whole family too? Or like, like they just like, no, if you're calling the right people and the right people. I mean, I talked to Kirstie Alley about the film because she's a Wichita person, and she had another engagement, but like, sent her like people that and a lot of different people, Charlie Wilson, Gap Band, and Shaka Khan, talked to her people. All of them sent really nice messages.
Bootsy Collins.
Bootsy Collins, yeah. But because it's just a wild and crazy business. It's like
Yeah.
we kind of met up with people when it made sense, when they were in town, or we would go to them when it made sense for other things, or would combine things, or because it was pretty bootstrapped production. So we were or combining like with where Rudy was playing or whatever. It was all just kind of following Rudy around. So I really did follow Rudy around. People always say like, oh, you make a documentary, you follow. Like on this one, Bob, like I was definitely stalking Rudy more than stalking Rudy. He was like,
I think at the end, John, I swear I remember hearing Rudy say, I think he clearly is talking to you and he says your name.
Yeah, there is that one. I mean, maybe it's the one vanity moment. I don't do that often. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I couldn't resist there. Yeah, because it was. Yeah, he does like look at say John or something. It's great, endearing end of the movie. I hope, but like, because it really was a collaboration. Like, I mean, a collaboration between Rudy and me. Like Rudy doing. I mean, with all the shooting and stuff, it was just incredible. Like, kind of following his rhythm, and then the trickle down there, and then everything that Bob, like coordinated with the family. We got to film all these different shows in different cities around the world, and it's just like a true family effort, kind of all kind of echoing Rudy's energy and Rudy's whatever Rudy was feeling and wanting to do. So it was pretty cool.
Actually, John and JC definitely became just like family. And what's so cool about Rudy has such a crazy sense of humor. You have, but John understood it, and they kind of their personalities hit just right. And a lot of times we talk in Rudy language, but John was one of the first people, one of the first, few people that could understand when we say certain things. We would explain it, but after that, he knew exactly what was going on. He knew he was on top of it, and we'd be places, and I could just look at his look in his face sometimes, and we all would laugh because he was on top of it. Normally, most people don't catch on to any of that,
Kind of like a higher sense of inside the inside joke.
It's a family thing where we can speak without even saying a word,
Right.
Yeah, and with Rudy, there was always just his nuttiness, his creative nuttiness made me so happy, and it was definitely something like there must be something wrong with both of us so that we understood each other so well with that. Pretty fun, very very gratifying.
Just the right wavelength,
yeah, definitely.
And like, how did you? How was Sinbad connected? He was like one of the first interviews that you guys had.
Well, actually, Sinbad and I. Well, Sinbad was in the military. And he was stationed at a air base here in Wichita, McCall Air Force Base. And so when I first met him a long time ago, it was on a basketball court. I played college ball, and so did he. And so we would all meet up, and he would get me on the base, and I'd go on the base and play basketball. And then he started following. He found out that we had a family band, and so he always said he was going to be he's going to be famous on stage one day. And he was always cracking these jokes, and we were like, man, just be quiet, will you? And then he would always just be, but then, so when we started doing shows, when we would do shows, we would let him open up, a few minutes of comedy for us. And so that's how we initially met him then, Yeah. And then when we contacted him, or John contacted him, he was very happy to talk about his relationship with Rudy Love. Yeah.
It was so fun. He was like, Rudy Love, like, oh yeah, like I'm in, I'll do whatever. Like he was completely jumped on it. He freaked out, Bob. Like it was amazing. And then because the thing is, he was like, the Love family was what made him want to be a performer, is what he told me. That's what made him. That's like what inspired him to do his thing, like music and comedy. Yeah.
He just wanted to be on stage. He had to get on stage. He always found a way to get on stage. Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen I mean, there's like video footage in This Is Love. Not that we really like explain it, but like it looks so like 80s, and he's like, I'm like wearing like this jazzercise suit or something. Up there, like, you know, just trying to like weasel his way next to Rudy or something.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Amazing. Yeah.
It was so cool to find all that old footage, looking on Betamax, 8mm, all kinds of different types of things we would have, cassette tapes, VHS, everything just came together. It was just, different people that we work with would send a tape, or somebody would find one, or I'd dig through stuff, and I couldn't believe it that I'd caught it on the end of a tape with I don't know, some movie, and I caught this little bit of I used the extra tape over it and just taped over it, and there it was, you know. So it was amazing.
So most of that footage came from stuff you guys had, or, you know, relationships you guys had with other people. It wasn't something that you had to go like searching for.
Well, we didn't have to search a lot, but it was
Right.
it was footage that a lot of it that I had given to Sean earlier, or Sean had filmed some himself, or we had done it with Diane Payne or some of the other folks. There's a video on YouTube, "Let Me Love You," that we are down in Wichita, Kansas, way back before they even built it, the area, which is Old Town now, and we were experimenting, and we made our own videos. Back when videos first started, we would find people, and they would have a camera, and we'd get out there.
It's like pre-MTV. It's
Right.
the best. And we sampled that stuff in the movie. I mean, that's the thing. It was like the movie sampled all those things, look up "Let Me Love You" on YouTube. That will make anyone's day. If not, I'm worried about you. But,
That's fair.
But I think if JC were on this call, she would probably say she had to do some hunting down a couple random little things, but like the laser disc, like the Hong Kong laser disc. It was a platinum laser disc, which is just amazing. Right, Bob? That was it went and what was that? That was Out of Rhythm, right?
Out of Rhythm. Yeah, actually, what I like I said, I would always, whenever I would see he would bring anything home, I would either take it or try to copy it. You know,
makes sense.
We call it Watergate. And so we would go to certain studios where they would, we don't want anybody taking any of this information out, any of this music out, but I would always have a tape recorder in my pocket or somewhere, and I would Watergate it. And so I kept a lot of that. And then, but the laser disc, when Rudy went to Hong Kong, he would bring all that back when before pagers, all these different things. He was bringing all this technology back, and we didn't know what all was going on. But then soon the world caught up, and he had a laser disc of him receiving the awards in Hong Kong, and I taped it onto a VHS tape, and I lost it for a long time, and then finally was able. I found it. I just sitting down there going through hours and hours of tape, and then there it was,
Just boom.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Popped up on there.
Well, did you have any, I guess, favorite footage that you kind of found, or John, for you, like favorite interview segments with Rudy?
I mean, favorite footage for me that we found was a lot of was it Channel 12, Bob? Like
Track 12, Channel 12.
Track 12, Channel, which was like that kind of footage on TV of Rudy and family performing, with sort of like a television kind of 3-camera style shoot that they would cut back and forth between and like have dissolves and stuff. And it looked just very kind of standard television. And it was just so great because then you see in that context, like how good Rudy and family are, or
Yeah.
like, it's like, whoa, like, okay, this is like, you've seen other people in the same context, because most of their stuff was like, there was not, it's not like there was like footage of a lot of the old concerts or things in full, but there's like clips here and there. So yeah, the track 12 was a real, like, that was a gem. And then favorite of stuff that we filmed together, like, I think the ones where Rudy got really loopy at the end of the day and was just kind of like, getting really silly and nutty when he got in that mode, which was not infrequent.
Not at all.
But like, when he was, really, I mean, I don't want to say like loosen up for the camera, but it was just kind of like, F it at the end of the day. I don't, but a lot of that stuff ended up being used in the film, where it was just kind of like after the fact kind of follow-up questions, where we sort of thought we were done with the meat of it, but like then the really raw, like unplanned, kind of vulnerable stuff came up, like just kind of random whatever thing, but it had heart, that it really, had that behind it. So whatever that material was, like tonally, that was the good stuff of the new stuff in my mind.
Yeah.
Also, I like the footage of the interview with George Clinton talking about Rudy and Sly Stone, and that part of it was really nice because I don't know, George Clinton and Sly has always been some of our buddies and our heroes, actually, before we met them. But to be able to work with Sly Stone and actually George Clinton also on some recordings and things like that. So it was really nice to do the interview with him. Yeah.
That was incredible, like to shoot the George Clinton interview, and I knew it would be, because like Bob said, I mean, George and Sly were Rudy and family's heroes, but like Rudy and the family are like George and Sly's heroes. So it's really true too. I mean, when I almost wish somebody had gotten, if there's anything I wish had been filmed, it was this interaction where the first time I met George Clinton in LA, like this, I wish somebody had a camera, because it's, this happened and it's just like, what? And like, this is before we started filming the movie, and like in the new installment with me, like, and it's not like I was skeptical about Rudy, because his talent I was completely inspired by, but it's like the depth of the story is like, really, like he sang on all those things, really, he wrote all that, he worked with all those people, like it just seemed like kind of grander than could possibly be possible, like for somebody who was, not such a household name, but just like this obscure artist that was everywhere. Like I was a little bit skeptical. So I was like, okay, well, George Clinton, so we went to JC and I went to the George Clinton live concert at a big, huge, multi-thousand person venue in downtown LA. And afterwards I was like, well, I'm going to try to go backstage. Rudy was like, talk to Fatty, George's driver. You want to get to Fatty? I was like, okay, I'll look for Fatty, and go backstage. And I asked somebody, where's Fatty? Oh, Fatty's over there. Okay, go over there, go around back, and then get to Fatty. And I'm like, do you know Rudy Love? And he's like, I gotta go. Like, we're leaving. Like, get out of the way, And I was like, oh, okay, like, like, I guess this is not true. And then Fatty's loading up the van, and George Clinton is sitting in the front seat, and I say, Rudy Love, like, and George Clinton is like, stops the van, reaches his arm out over Fatty, and like rolls down his window. He's like, Rudy Love, like, what? And the whole family, what do you know about Rudy Love? He's like, stuff. And Fatty's like all upset because they're on a tour schedule and need to get. And he's like rolling his eyes. I shouldn't make the story about Fatty, but it's not. But what was amazing was like George was like reaching out of his van, like clutching like my hands, being like, "Tell me about Rudy Love." Like, what? He's like, I'm like, "Would you be involved in, this movie that we're doing?" He's like, "Of course, I want," and the whole family, yeah, like, and what actually the opening words out of his mouth were, "You just missed Sly." Sly had just left. Like he was at the show. He's like, Sly would have loved this, is what he said. And I actually saw Sly's car, but I didn't realize that was him leaving. And yeah, that was just, and then all my skepticism was like, okay, like this is all completely real.
God, yeah,
So yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah, very incredible.
So Bob, when this is back in, I want to say it was late 60s, the Harlem Culture Festival. Like I learned a lot about it from like I haven't gotten to watch it, but the Summer of Soul by like Questlove, right? Yeah. Was Rudy involved? Was he there? Did he take part?
No, Rudy wasn't there with the band at that time.
Okay.
When Rudy started working with Sly was when the band, the originals, were starting to kind of leave and looking for other contracts. Like Motown was wooing Freddie and Rose, I think, trying to, and so they were kind of breaking up. And so Sly was looking for new members, new people, and he heard from some of our friends that Rudy Love, man, you need to have Rudy Love, man. And he said, like, well, who Rudy Love? And so they flew him out to San Francisco, and Sly was kind of peeking, kind of watching, trying to see, and then when they picked him up, looking and checking him out, and they put him in the car. And so Sly asked him, "Hey man, can you sing?" And he said, "Yeah, I can sing." So he said, "Well, sing to this." And what it was a new project, which turned out to be "I Get High on You" album. And he was playing it. He said, "Sing to this," and Rudy sang, and then he said, "Okay, yeah, you with me." And so from then on, Rudy lived out there with Sly and toured with them, and then Rudy had bought. Matter of fact, my different members of the family would go and stay in Sly's house. Like my brother Juro, who was a drummer in our band, was out there. He was really, really young at the time, 16 or 17, but he was out there with Sly. And then Tyree, our guitar player. And then eventually I finished college, and actually on my breaks in the summer, I would go to California with Rudy and hang out with him all summer. And so I ended up working with Sly, and they put me to work as soon as I got there off the plane. And so I ended up, hanging out with them and working at different times in my life with Sly as like a roadie, and stuff like that, and just learning the business, moving his equipment and doing different things, driving his cars for him and things like that, just to learn what was going on, And he was really, 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 really good to us, all of us.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Rudy's like, I'm going back to Wichita.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said,
always go back home, right?
Yeah, I'm going back home, and it was he really wanted to, he had some music with the family that he wanted to get out and record with the family. So he had gotten a different deal, and so he came home, and then we, as the Love family, continued to record and play music, and got a record deal with Cala Records.
Okay, that is that the one that's up in was in Harlem, and then the whole shenanigans happened.
Okay. Yes,
I was like, you said Cala, and I was like, I was making sure you didn't say Canyon. Canyon Records was the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the Ray Charles label, and that's when Rudy recorded, some of the iconic music. We call it early Rudy, but it was supposed to have been a Love Wichita style album, but they used it. They said they were cutting demos, and then of course they shipped it over to the UK and overseas, and it be under the name of Tyrone Davis and brother Tyrone. So that's how that became. But Cala was out of New York with Nate McCalla. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
But then what's crazy about that Love Wichita style, that was the early Rudy that showed up decades later, like having a lot of playtime overseas. Like the title Love Wichita style, which I don't think really ever surfaced, was reinterpreted like through the Ray Charles system, because Ray Charles released a very successful album called Love Country Style.
Yeah.
They substituted the Wichita for country, and Ray Charles released that, and that has Rudy Love songs on it. At least has Your Love Is So Doggone Good, which was a gold record of Ray Charles written by Rudy Love. A lot of folks recovered that album, that song. Your Love Is So Doggone Good is maybe one of the most brutally covered Rudy Love song of at least of the Canyon Records stuff. Probably because I mean Isaac Hayes, Love So Doggone Good, huge hit.
On the Black Moses album, and then Esther Phillips on From a Whisper to a Scream on her album, and Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers on their album. So the Whispers, they recorded a lot of Rudy stuff off of the Purple album. Hey Sister, I'm Your Brother.
And then like even people like jazz. I'm not as familiar with jazz, but like a lot of super famous jazz musicians would do instrumental covers of the Rudy Love vocal lines from those tunes. As far as I could tell, I mean, they're wish I could produce a name, but a lot of I mean, really, like jazz people cover that stuff, that stuff, and the reason is because it's so good. By the way, like the reason Rudy gets, it was such a out of Wichita, Kansas, it's because it's like there's one and only. People would always like, it's just like that face that George Clinton would make, and like in that story I told you. I mean, it was just like people get a glow, like a smile that like cannot be replaced in any way. Like when you say Rudy Love, it's like the international credit card. You can get in anywhere if they know.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I guess for kind of going along with that, how do you think Rudy's life, and I guess the Love family's life, would have changed if he didn't sign immediately with Canyon Records and he kind of waited the next day with Lou? I know we have that as a crux in the film at one point, but just kind of speculating about some of the differences that might have happened.
Well, it's kind of we live in the now, but you think about back then. Nowadays, people can have their own record album labels right in their house, and not have to go through all the different middlemen and A&R people, and then trying to get in the door, let somebody hear you sing a note or something. Those things were tough to get, very tough to get. And Rudy waiting with Lou Rawls, which may have panned out. That was the story. Don't sign anything, and wait. But you never know. Back then, a lot of my dad is evident. My dad had beat on a lot of doors before they got the Chess Records deal. They had traveled and they talked to all kinds of people. So when the opportunity came, with the well-known artists that he was out on the road with, and he thought, well, this might be my big break. So, but who knows? It might have been even better, or it could have been worse, because everything was controlled by scrupulous people at the time, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But the main thing is that what Rudy always said, well, at least my music got out. I got my music out to the world.
Yeah.
And that's the way he looked at it. He was able to get it. It wasn't never about the money. It wasn't never about the money.
Right.
And like in that night, like with like the Lou Rawls story, one thing I always think about is like, if he had waited for Lou Rawls, like he wouldn't have made those recordings that night. Like
True,
your love is so doggone good wouldn't probably exists, because these things were just kind of fleeting, like, oh, here you are, hey, what's going on, like whatever it was right then and there is what it was. And that's right. I mean, like, that's how the situation was, and that's just how Rudy worked always, like from what I could tell. So that work would not have been made on another night.
That's true.
Well, he also comes across as just not an upset or angry person about the situation in general. And I mean, it just seems like that's how he carried himself with life and the Love family in general. Is that true? I mean, it's kind of how it feels in the film.
Oh, yeah. He's the epitome. Go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead, John.
No. That
yeah,
feeling is.
Rudy really never, he really didn't care about money. He didn't care really about fame. He was happy to finally get the story told. But as far as caring about money, I mean, he's had money. He's had a lot of money, and he and I have been homeless. We walk the streets homeless. But the one thing that we always say is that when you get on stage or when you're playing music, that's the joy of it. And our big joy was to be together as a family and being able to make music, because as kids, that's what we dreamt. We said, we were one day we were going to be, we're going to be these guys. We're going to play on stage and we would play it, and we go on the road. Like we say, we go on the road. We get in Daddy's car. We all be in the car like we're on the road, because we watched my father as a musician, but we wanted to be just entertainers and play music, and so. We did that, and we're doing that. So that was the goal. He didn't care if it was 4,000 or 4,000 people. He didn't care. It was going to give us the same show, regardless. And he had this. He cared, but he at the end of the day, he was all he was trying to do was spread his music. And if you listen to the lyrics of all of his music, you can tell all the music is about love. It's all about caring for someone, or spreading love. That's what it was all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tim, I think you have another question that kind of goes along with that.
Yeah, I lost it on my list here. Highlight it for me. Where'd it go? I guess that makes sense. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry for our technical difficulties.
All good.
I don't know how I lost that. Yeah, so I had a question about like the title "This Is Love." So obviously, like you were saying, there's a lot of love in his songs. Was there any other like working titles that you were thinking about?
Yes. For a long time, it was. Tell me if there was something before this, Bob. But when I came into it, the first title was "The Love Story."
Oh, okay.
So it's actually that was always it was the love story.
Yeah.
Many of my files are still labeled "The Love Story" because that's the genesis of this project. So I kind of smile when I think about it, but it's not called "The Love Story." It's taken years, but I've adjusted my brain to that. It's
that's good. I'm happy for you, John.
Thank you so much.
And one of the other things was we had a double CD set that I had accumulated over probably around 30 songs, and I was just wanting to get Rudy's music, other songs out into the world. So we put together a Labor of Love CD double set with a booklet, and it talked about a lot of the beginnings and things of the Love family, and had all those songs on it. And so at the end of the booklet, I wrote in there, "Stay tuned for the love story." Coming, we're gonna the movie Love Story. So I always had it in my mind that I wanted to have a movie shot about it, the Love family, and it would, it was a love story. So that's where the first name came from, actually, basically. But I'm still working on that to make sure that there will be an actual series or mini series or a motion picture of the love story.
Nice. And I guess so. We know the docuseries is coming out, right? We know you've got the play. Like,
you got the festival.
The festivals. Like, what other sorts of creative things do you have that you see next for the Love family? I guess.
One thing, on the video front, I'll mention real quick, we're rolling
Mhm.
out a bunch of clips. Like there's so many.
Oh,
We're
nice.
starting now, leading up to the soon to be announced streaming release. We're rolling, because there is so much material, rolling out a bunch of kind of short favorite love clips, love family clips, Rudy Love, you know, music clips, things from the film, things that weren't in the film, a lot of clips that are out there on YouTube and stuff like that. So that's all on This Is Love's social media at This Is Love Film.
And also, we're going to continue to hopefully screen the film in different places. A lot of people want to see the film in different environments, and so we go and do the Q&As and then give a little concert afterwards. Also, what I'm really proud of is that the John, you can correct me, the American, what is it, Academy of something Education, it's approved for being able to show it in educational settings, so
that's right.
That's awesome.
Part of like ProQuest, Alexander Street, but ProQuest Library, which is like the biggest library system, nationally at least. And it's a database of a lot of different volumes, books and films and music. And This Is Love is an educational film available to libraries, colleges, universities, educational institutions around the country, and people can rent it, check it out, schedule it for their classes, schedule special screenings, because so it is an educational film. Technically, which is so got to learn those lessons, be educated.
Well, John, you also mentioned something about you're not announced yet, but is it going to be on streaming platforms and such? And like,
yes,
is there a time frame on that, or?
We have had all that info is through This Is Love Film on social media with dates. We've done like a limited streaming release where it's been available on Vimeo on demand for certain windows, but it'll be on a streaming platform on a more permanent basis.
Awesome.
All that'll be announced. Yeah, exactly. Right. You gotta watch those clips. Yeah, right.
Very cool.
Yeah. Did you guys end up getting in after all the screenings? It's been out, you said 4 years now, right?
You guys, coming 3.5 years. Yeah, that it's made here in London. Yeah.
Have you guys like how did it like receive with like Sly and like some of the friends? Were they just like extremely excited to see this, like see Rudy in this film setting?
I think a lot of people, the amount of reactions that film continues to elicit, both the film and all the ancillary stuff, like on social media, we get tons of messages from people, and it's just incredible. It's really the Rudy Love effect is like the ultimate ripple effect of the universe. It's pretty ridiculous. But like also in Rudy's passing, like I know I got a lot of messages just because of our friendship and our collaboration from all kinds of people. And I know like Bob, I think the Stewart family on
the Sly and the family sent a nice, wonderful, warm letter and acknowledgement to us. And it's people all over the place. We still get condolences and things, letters and different things coming in from all over the place for Rudy's contributions and how different people actually tell me. I find out guitar stories. I've got his collection of his guitars, and actually I had another brother that was in the band a long time ago that he died, had a heart attack. He was a basketball player also, but he died on the court. And a guy just walks up out of the other night, or walks up to my nephew and his show, Rudy Love Jr.'s show, and tells my niece, Rochelle, who's a drummer, that I have your brother's guitar. He said he used to play this big fat Gibson, black Gibson. I said, and so they said, they called to say, do you know this guy, who he is? And I they didn't get me, but when the guy says that he got it and Joe gave it to him, I was kind of skeptical of that because Joe would not hardly give his guitar. But what I found out, what happened was when he passed, he had a girlfriend, and he lived together with her, and she had all of his stuff. And so when she probably moved on and had another man in her life. She passed away suddenly, and so I got a feeling that the guitar kind of made its way to this guy, and so we tried to ask him to, can we buy it or whatever, but no, he said it's not for sale. So it's just kind of you always find the people with different pieces of love everywhere. This is so and so's guitar. This is I had this. I remember when Rudy gave me this or this or that. Or one of Rudy's God suits. I have one of his ponchos or. So, it's always something popping up all over the place,
And July 21st is it July 21st or July 22nd?
22nd.
July 22nd.
Yeah,
Rudy Love Day. And that's like official at the in Kansas. I know it's official at the city, county, and state level.
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have it. It's like the 21st and 23rd. So we're going to have it actually the 22nd. The concert, and that is officially the governor and the city officials, the mayor, and all those people had deemed it Rudy Love days. So he's one of the few people that have 2 days dedicated in his honor. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool.
Yeah, cool.
I guess anything else you guys want to plug or any closing remarks that you want people to know about? Obviously, we'll stay posted on social for the announcement for streaming, but anything else you guys want to bring
I
up?
would say just keep the music playing. Find the Love Family on Spotify, and,
I did find them.
Yeah. And
keep the music playing. That was his mantra. Just take care of my music and keep the music playing. That was it.
That's awesome.
I love that.